Imagine a young boy born in the 90s, on the cusp of a new millennium. A boy like many others, passionate about video games and spending time with friends. Yet, from an early age, he had a unique fascination with heaven, an unusual maturity in his faith, and a deep love for the Eucharist. For him, the sacrament was a path to perfect harmony with God. Curious to learn more? Keep reading to discover how Carlo Acutis' devotion might also inspire your own life. At just 7 years old, he received his first communion, and the Eucharist became his true treasure. Carlo Acutis led a simple, transparent life, always cherishing the sacrament as his most precious gift. He often said the Eucharist was his path to heaven, living every day with a focus on the divine and believing that heaven could be experienced right here on earth. Could such love for something so pure and simple make such an impact? The next paragraph might surprise you. How did a young man of the 90s, surrounded by endless distractions, stay true to his purpose? Perhaps it lies in one of his most famous sayings, "Everyone is born an original, but many die as copies." Carlo believed that each person is unique and essential in God's plan, though few understand their own importance. What else did he have to say on this? Let's explore further. From childhood, Carlo showed a strong sense of charity, especially toward the poor and marginalized. He would ask his mother to save leftovers from dinner to share with those in need, and he used his allowance to help the homeless. To him, life was only truly beautiful when lived in love of God above all else and with love for one's neighbor. And the more you learn about his actions, the more you'll see the impact they made. Keep reading to find out how his small deeds became lasting legacies. Carlo believed God is always with us, and that Jesus is our friend. He encountered Christ in the Church, in the Eucharist, and in the poor. His love for Christ was reflected in his daily actions. He helped the needy not only with food, but also by donating the money he received from his family to St. Francis charity work in Milan, which supported a soup kitchen for the less fortunate. Have you ever considered how small acts like these can have such a profound effect? Look to the next paragraph to understand the depth of his commitment. During this time, Carlo began his work in evangelization, armed with a camera and the intent to spread God's message. He started creating videos to share online, unaware that his tech skills would eventually make him the cyber apostle of the Eucharist. His videos reached places he could never have imagined. Want to know how his tech-savvy nature influenced the world? Keep reading. Carlo attracted followers from around the world, people inspired by his faith. News of his passing on October 12, 2006, due to acute leukemia, was met with deep sadness. Even at 15, he left a legacy of faith that quickly began to bear fruit. One of those fruits was an officially recognized miracle in Brazil. What did this miracle reveal about his life? The next paragraph will tell you. In 2013, a Brazilian boy named Mateus was healed from a severe pancreatic malformation through Carlo's intercession. This miracle was crucial for Carlo's beatification process, which the Vatican authorized in 2018. The young Carlo was declared venerable, and in 2019, his body was transferred from Milan to Assisi, where he rests in the Basilica of St. Francis. Want to know more about the impact of his beatification? Keep reading. Carlo, ever devoted and full of love for God, became a beacon of light for many. His beatification took place in 2020, on the same date as his passing, celebrated joyfully despite pandemic restrictions. As Carlo demonstrated, holiness is a calling for each of us. We are all unique, like fingerprints, called to respond to God's love, just as St. Francis and Carlo did. Curious to find out more about the path to holiness? Keep reading. For Carlo to be canonized, a second miracle must be recognized. But as he himself said, sanctification is a process of addition and subtraction. Less room for ourselves, more room for God. May Carlo Acutis' life inspire many to follow this path of love and devotion, living holiness in our times and showing that putting Christ first is always possible. Want to know how this inspiration can change your journey? Don't miss the next paragraph. To understand Carlo Acutis' faith and values, it's essential to look at his roots, which are deeply intertwined with his family. From his earliest years, Carlo's family played a crucial role in nurturing and strengthening his spirituality. His parents, Andrea and Antonia Acutis, were his first guides in faith. How did this family shape his spiritual growth? The answer may surprise you. His mother, Antonia, was not initially very religious, but witnessing Carlo's fervor and devotion led her to rediscover her own faith. Carlo, with his simplicity and love for the Eucharist, became a light that illuminated not only his path but also his mother's, leading her to a spiritual renewal. Carlo's example didn't just inspire his mother to deepen her faith, it influenced the entire family, creating a home filled with prayer and devotion. How did this spiritual transformation reshape family life? Andrea, Carlo's father, also played a key role, supporting Carlo's spiritual journey. Together, they shared moments of prayer and reflection, helping Carlo understand and live out the teachings of the Church. The family often attended Mass and went on pilgrimages, strengthening their spiritual bond even more. Ever wondered how these moments helped reinforce their faith? The next paragraph will offer a clearer view. Beyond his parents, Carlo's relationship with his siblings was also marked by care and kindness. He was the responsible and affectionate older brother, setting an example of goodness and faith for them. The Acutis household was a true Christian home, where faith wasn't just practiced, it was genuinely and fervently lived. What more can be said about how this environment shaped Carlo? The atmosphere of love, respect, and devotion in the Acutis family was crucial for Carlo's spiritual development. This solid foundation allowed him to grow into a young man of strong faith, capable of facing the challenges of the modern world without losing sight of his divine purpose. How did Carlo become an inspiration to others? Discover more in the next paragraph. For those fortunate enough to know Carlo Acutis, he was more than just a devout young man. He was a true example of living holiness. Friends, family, and acquaintances often share stories of his virtues and the positive impact he had on their lives. What touching stories are told about Carlo? One of his closest friends, Tommaso, fondly recalls Carlo's simplicity and generosity. He always had time for others, even when he was busy with his own tasks. Carlo truly listened and cared about the people around him. His presence was comforting and inspiring. What other qualities made Carlo stand out? His catechism teacher, Maria, remembers him as an exceptional student, not just in knowledge but in his desire to live what he learned. He didn't just want to understand the Church's teachings, he applied them in his daily life. It was incredible to see someone so young, so committed to his faith and the well-being of others. How did this influence the lives of those who knew him? Carlo's neighbors often speak of his charitable spirit. He constantly surprised us with his kindness. I never saw him irritated or speaking ill of anyone. Carlo had a pure heart and a contagious smile that lit up the room. He helped the elderly, chatted with the lonely, and was a true friend to everyone. How did his kindness impact his community? Carlo's mother, Antonia, shares how he helped her rediscover her faith. I was a non-practicing Catholic before Carlo. It was his devotion and love for Jesus that brought me back to the Church. His love for the Eucharist was infectious, and he showed me the true meaning of a Christian life. How did this transformation affect his mother's life? These testimonies reveal not only Carlo's deep faith and kindness, but also how his life became a beacon of light for those around him. With his simplicity and holiness, Carlo Acutis continues to inspire and touch hearts, leaving behind a legacy that will endure for future generations. How does his legacy continue to impact the world today? Carlo Acutis, a young man born in the digital age, left a legacy that transcends borders and continues to inspire people worldwide. His brief life resonates with a message of faith, love, and devotion that echoes in the hearts of people of all ages and cultures. What lessons can we learn from his life, and how can we apply them to our own journey? Since his beatification in 2020, Carlo Acutis stands as a true example of modern-day sainthood, especially for young people. In an era filled with digital distractions and superficiality, Carlo stood out by using technology in a purposeful and missionary way. He created a website to catalog and share Eucharistic miracles, utilizing his tech skills to evangelize and bring more people to the faith. But how did he manage to transform technology into a tool for faith? Carlo's innovative approach earned him the title Cyber Apostle of the Eucharist, perfectly capturing his missionary spirit and his ability to use modern tools to share timeless messages. His life and work demonstrate how technology, when used with purpose and devotion, can become a powerful ally in spreading the faith. And what other fascinating aspects of his work remain to be discovered? Carlo's global impact is considerable. His talks and videos on the Eucharist and miracles continue to circulate online, touching lives across the world. Many young people find in Carlo a model for living an authentic, passionate life in faith, showing that it's possible to be modern and holy at the same time. He demonstrates that true rebellion is following Christ in a world that often strays from these values. How did Carlo inspire so many young people worldwide? Beyond the digital realm, Carlo's testimony sparks charity initiatives and movements within various communities. Churches, schools, and Catholic organizations around the world organize events inspired by his life and teachings, encouraging young people to follow his example of living, active faith. What tangible impact do these initiatives have on communities? The Church's official recognition through Carlo's beatification not only confirms his sainthood but also calls us to action. Carlo invites us to rediscover the beauty of the Eucharist, the importance of charity, and the need to live our faith with integrity and courage. What tangible changes can we expect in our daily lives by following his example? In countries like Brazil, Italy, the United States, and many others, Carlo is celebrated as a symbol of hope and spiritual renewal. People of all ages find inspiration in his story to face the challenges of modern life with faith and determination. He teaches us that holiness is within everyone's reach, regardless of age, profession, or social background. What other aspects of his legacy might still surprise us? Carlo's influence is also seen in contemporary miracles, like the healing of young Mateus in Brazil, which led to Carlo's beatification. These miracles are tangible signs of his intercession, affirming his spiritual presence among us and his ongoing role as a guide and intercessor. What other miraculous stories are associated with his name? Carlo Acutis' legacy serves as a beacon, lighting the way for many faithful, proving that sainthood isn't a relic of the past but a living reality. He reminds us that, through the Eucharist, love for others, and a responsible use of technology, we can transform our lives and our world. What other parts of his legacy continue to light our lives today?